G'day guys, before we hop into today's vlog, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. From now on, I'm going to be putting out Day-Leigh vlogs every single day. I'm going to be tracking my process, playing these 1-2-6 max games, hopefully moving up in stakes. But even if I don't, you'll get to watch me fall on my face every single day on this YouTube channel. So make sure you hit subscribe so you get the new videos as they come out every single day. For now, onto the vlog. G'day everyone, welcome back to the vlog. It is currently about 7:15 AM here in Melbourne, getting ready to play another day of online poker. I did sleep in a bit, which I'm particularly disappointed in today, just because I do have to help Elizabeth out with something at 9 o'clock, so obviously not waking up like super early, it's going to affect the amount of volume I'm going to be able to play, so unfortunately already anticipating I'm not going to be able to get in 1,500 hands today. We'll try and hit that number, we'll see how we go. There's definitely going to be a time crunch on for me today. I did end up playing one table of 2-5 yesterday. All of yesterday I was thinking, do I want to play another 2-5 table today? Do I want to play only 2-5? Do I want to just give it a rest? And I think at the moment I'm going to just play the one table, just because I do want to transition over into playing 4 tables of 2-5 at some point, but on a day when I'm going to be under a time crunch and not be able to put in that much volume, I think it's going to stress me and it might impact the potential decisions I'm going to make throughout the course of hands. So if I'm not going to be on my A game today, I'd rather do that at 1-2 than at 2-5. I will mix in one table of 2-5 just to continue getting used to it. So we'll see how we go with that. But first, I've got to get a feed in. I'm starving. Let's go.
Open up, shut it down like a Macintosh. Open up, open here.
Okay, so it's about 8 AM at the moment. I'm getting ready to hop in and play my first session. The fact that it is so close to 9, I'm definitely going to be a bit rushed during this session. Despite that though, I actually think this is a good opportunity to play my A+ game for only an hour. I really do think I'll be able to key in and make good decisions throughout this period. So I am actually probably going to mix in a second table of 2-5 and then just play the hour out. Then obviously the other 2 tables will be 1-2, and then when I do come back to it in the afternoon, we'll see how we go. Definitely not anticipating that I will be able to get the 1,500 hands in today. But if I do get 1,200, I'll be pretty happy with that. So I think I'm going to aim for 1,200 hands of A-grade level poker today. So without any further ado, let's get in the game. Welcome back everyone. It is currently about 4:30 in the afternoon here in Melbourne, and I've just wrapped up my second poker session for the day. Was able to play a total of 4 hours and 14 minutes today. So like I said at the start of the day, I wasn't really anticipating myself having that much time to play poker after I did sleep in so much. So I was kind of expecting that number to be low, but there's a number that isn't low, and that's the number of hands I played in today's session. I ended up getting a total of 1,524. So not only did I hit my goal of 1,200, but I actually hit my original goal even after I knew I was going to be under a time crunch, and I made the 1,500 hands like I would in any other day. And you're probably sitting there thinking like, how are you able to do that? That's so many hands in such a short period of time. And the way I did it is I 6-tabled for the first time in a long time. I knew I was going to be under a time crunch, but I thought I could still get the volume in if I just loaded up those tables and played 6 at once. And I did it, and it did work out. I was able to get it under in the time crunch. But the obvious question, was my gameplay affected over playing 6 tables as opposed to 4 or 5 tables? And in terms of results, it wasn't, at least, because I did end up winning 664. So the upswing I've been having this week clearly continues today. But how about my gameplay grade for today's sessions? Well, after everything was said and done, I think I'm going to have to give myself a B+. I do think adding in the extra 2 tables definitely did negatively affect the quality of my play throughout the session. I did a few min-clicky type things, like once I accidentally called with pocket 9s in the small blind when I should have been 3-betting. There was a few different instances like that where I stuffed up pre-flop because I was so, unfocused and I was sort of splitting my attention so many ways. So I do think it did affect my play. Having said that though, that was only a little bit. I do think for the most part I was able to keep up, and I did stuff up a few pre-flop things, but no post-flop decisions were really influenced. I still like a lot of the decisions I made, and obviously I did make a few mistakes, but I think that had less to do with me adding in the extra table and more to me just sort of getting it wrong in close spots. I do think I fatigued a bit faster, but obviously you're going to when you have so many decisions to make at once, but it doesn't really matter when I get the 1,500 hands in really quick. So I'm pretty pleased with this session. Obviously a few mistakes and a lot of room for improvement if I'm going to play 6 tables moving forward, which I'm not sure that I am. I'm still undecided if I'm going to grind the 5 or the 6 at the moment, but I'm pretty happy with the session overall, so B+ feels pretty fair. So there were definitely parts of today's sessions that I really did like. The decisions I made, even though there were a few things I disliked about my session, mostly that I was getting overwhelmed at all the things happening with so many tables going on at once. This next hand, I'm really not sure about how I played it. I kind of like it, just not really sure with a few of the decisions I made. So let's get into it. The action folds to an unknown cutoff. They go ahead and raise it to 6. Then it gets to me on the button. I have my second favourite hand in all of poker, pocket kings. I go ahead and 3-bet it to 18. The action gets back to the cutoff and they call. So we go heads up to a flop of king jack deuce with 2 clubs. Small blind goes over and checks it to me. So now I think I have a pretty interesting decision with top set here. On one hand, I actually kind of like checking in this spot just because we do double block my opponent having a top pair type hand. So I think it would make sense to check here to try and induce a bluff from them on a later street. But having said that, I do think betting large is also another option here, just because, yeah, we do block top pair, but there's still, if my opponent has like jack 10, jack queen, they're probably going to call at least 1 bet on the flop anyway. And additionally, there's flush draws, there's clubs, queen 10 is a straight draw. So there are a bunch of draws that might call if I bet. So I can bet big for that reason. The other option I consider is betting small, just because it's sort of like a halfway measure between both. Like, I'm pretty sure if I do bet small, my opponent's going to check call with any of their 1-pair type hands. And additionally, if they do like view it as weak or whatever, it might potentially induce bets on later streets or even like a check raise bluff on this street. So there's a lot of options on this flop when we consider c-betting. Ultimately, I do decide to bet smaller. I go ahead and make it 10, and then my opponent calls. Not sure how I feel about that decision. I could go any 3 of the ways. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But as the hand was played, we are heads up to a turn still, and the turn is the ace of diamonds. The cutoff goes ahead and checks it over to me again, and another pretty interesting decision here. I definitely want to keep betting my set for value. Obviously, if my opponent does have like ace-x of clubs, obviously they're going to continue on this turn. I do lose to queen 10 now on this turn, obviously, so that is a bit of a concern. Having said that though, I'm not going to worry too much when a lot of my opponent's range that check called on the flop is going to continue on the turn. I actually think I should be betting pretty large, just because my opponent will be calling so often on this straight. And obviously they do have a bunch of weaker 1-pair hands that they're going to fold, but they're going to fold if I bet, 60 or if I bet 20. So I should just be sizing up in this spot, I think. I sort of make a slight mistake. I only go ahead and bet 30. I think this is one of the mistakes I did make due to there being so many decisions at once. I was sort of just like clicking buttons like, oh, I have a set, I bet, but I didn't bet big enough. I should be betting bigger here. That's my mistake, I own it. As the hand was played, I did go ahead and bet 30, then my opponent did call. So we're still heads up to the river, and the river is the 7 of clubs. Pretty gross river for us, and things get even grosser when my opponent goes ahead and leads 108. Obviously this is a pretty sick spot with set here when the front door flush does get in and my opponent leads out a pretty big bet. My initial thought is I should probably call, just because if my opponent is trying to do like a blocker type bet, it could be with a worse hand than pocket kings. It could be with king jack, pocket jacks, pocket twos. But the problem is, I think a lot of those hands, they're gonna like raise at some point earlier in the hand, particularly when the board is this wet. And additionally, like, we actually lose to some of their blocker bets. Like if they do have queen 10 that didn't raise for some reason, I am concerned that my opponent does have a flush as well. Like I said earlier, any of those ace-x combination of clubs, a few suited connects as well, 8-9 of clubs, for example. So I do lose to a lot when my opponent leads out on the river like this. So as a result of that, I actually do decide to fold my set here.
I know a lot of people aren't going to like that. Obviously, this is one of the stronger hands I can have in my range in this spot, but I look at the hands in my opponent's range and I don't even think they're blocker betting a worse hand. I think they either have a flush or a bluff here. If they do have a bluff, maybe like ace of clubs, they're really going to open and then call, many ace X offsuit hands. Like, I really don't think so. I think this is a spot where I'm beat most of the time. Obviously, kudos to my opponent if they were running a bluff in this spot, because they made a really good read that I was going to fold here, but I just can't pay them off. And I do think I made a slight mistake by betting so small on the turn. It's due to the fact that I was playing so many tables at once and it was distracting. But having said that, I was able to redial in on the river here and make what I think is a pretty good fold. You guys might disagree though. You guys might think I have to defend this part of my range, particularly when I am so strong. Hop down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this one. Do you like folding on the river, or do you reckon I should just call with a hand as strong as a set? Super curious to hear what you guys think as always. That's going to wrap up another vlog for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching as always. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow so much. We just got over to 500 subscribers last night, which obviously I'm over the moon about, but thank you so much if you already have subscribed. I don't want to get too sentimental here, but I just want to say thank you guys. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe and join the family. For now, I'm out of here. Peace.